Daddy Squared. Gay Dad Saved the World.
A daily dose of gay dads on the front lines of the global pandemic.
With Alex McGann and Jan Dick.
I'm going to do it. Hello. Is that how you do it?
No, that sounds like a horse.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Squared, the Gay Dads podcast.
Gay Dads Save the World,
that's how it goes.
day 7.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Jan, the immigrant.
Oh, really? Are we doing that now?
I am a proud immigrant.
You are an American citizen, so... Anyway,
that too.
I wanted to talk for a minute before we go into the interview today, because we've been talking to these amazing people who are both doing things on the front lines of supporting people during this horrible pandemic, and who have kids and have to figure out what to do with them during the day. And our kids are we have twin 4-year-olds, and they. They've been going to school for 2 years now, and nursery school. And when the school closed, they decided to send us invitations to do Zoom things during the day, classes such as they are. I think that it might work for kids who are like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. It is not working for our kids.
No.
I mean, there's an attention span problem. There's a device problem. I somehow feel like if we hooked it up to our TV so that it was just there, it might work better. But they just, they don't want to like sit around that thing and look at little rectangles. It's just not working.
And you know what's funny? That the pandemic started when the school went to a spring break. There were like classes for like two or 3 days, and then they're like, okay, now we're going to spring break, have fun. And then they're coming back with this email 2 weeks later, they're coming back with this email, welcome back to school. And I'm like, oh my God, seriously? You're writing welcome back to school?
Yeah, I actually had...
we want to hear, how was your spring break? As if...
This is an explicit lyrics podcast, right?
Yeah, I'm like... Totally.
Fuck you.
Totally. Sitting there cursing the email.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? I remember many, many years ago, the first time I experienced an infomercial, right? And I didn't even know what an infomercial was. And during the infomercial, they stopped the presentation in front of the audience and they went to a commercial break, which was just another commercial for the thing. And then they came back to the audience and the woman says, and we're back. And I'm like, what do you mean we're back? We're looking at the same thing. And this is what this felt like. It felt like, seriously, we're back from break? What did you do? You walked from your living room into your kitchen? Oh, for God's sake.
Oh my God, yes, that's a problem. Today we're calling New York City. This is one of our hardest interviews we had.
Yeah,
we're calling Jadore Mattis. He's a registered nurse. He is a gay dad, but he's away from his family because he's so much in the front line of this, treating the COVID patients, that he has to stay at a hotel.
Yeah, he has to isolate himself from his family too. He's an amazing man.
Amazing.
And this
you
was
guys
an
should
amazing
hear this
interview.
Story. All right, let's do it.
Jadore, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do and how the work has changed from before to now with the pandemic?
Well, I am a registered nurse here in New York City. I've been a nurse going on 6 years. Since the start of the pandemic, I see where my profession has become very overwhelmed in more ways than one, especially for the healthcare professionals and the first responders. But for me personally, it's been both emotional and physically exhausting. I never get used to seeing patients dying. No. And now it's like, it's more than before. Normally you have a patient before all of this started, and okay, this patient is DNR. It's a possibility that he or she may not recover from whatever complications that brought them into the hospital. But I've seen it gone from healthy patients that walked into the hospital to now on their last breath. Just Friday, when I worked, I saw a gentleman, very young. He was only 57, and his oxygen saturation was extremely low. However, surprisingly, he was still conscious. So he asked to be, the medical team decided to intubate him. So he asked to FaceTime his wife before we did. We do the intubation.
Right.
And on the FaceTime, you know, I saw his wife. She was very distraught, very emotional. She was crying. And before he ended the call, he told her goodbye. And you know, we intubated him on the floor, and then we brought him down to the ICU. And within minutes of him being in the ICU, he coded. And for the entire weekend, because I'm off from work this weekend, I can't not but just to think about him, think about his family, especially his wife, and that last conversation that he had with her.
Right.
You know, it's really tough, and I wish people would take this very serious. I know that whatever is going on in the confined walls of the hospital, the general public, they don't really know, or they don't understand. But it's worse. It's really worse than what's being reported. It's really bad.
Tell me, because it's so, it can affect the people who work in the hospital very much emotionally and mentally. Do you guys get some sort of therapy somebody that you can go and talk to about these things that you see?
Yeah. So now the hospital is offering virtual counseling, where normally they had like chaplain services, but now because of the pressure and everything else that comes with it, the emotional trauma, they are now offering therapy sessions to the staff. But to be quite honest with you, I have done therapy in my past life because I've been abused as a child. And it's very hard for you to open up to someone that you don't know.
Right.
Especially for me, it took me a while for me to trust my therapist, or for me to feel comfortable disclosing certain information to her. So for you to now have a therapist, and you don't know if it's going to be the same person that you're going to be seeing. So building that professional trusting relationship with a therapist through this virtual session, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
But the good news is that they are offering these therapy sessions. I'm pretty sure for some people they may be effective, but for others, I'm sure it's going to take longer for them to be able to open up.
Sure.
Right.
Well, not a bad segue to help us understand a little bit about what you have going on at home, your family situation.
Oh my God, I have not been home in over a month.
Oh. Well, tell us what would be there if you were home.
My husband right now is with my 2-year-old son.
Okay.
He is doing an amazing job. I am so grateful for him. I only communicate with them through FaceTime.
Right.
Out of fear of just pre-exposing them, especially Amir being only 2 years old, I made the decision to stay at a hotel.
Got it.
So I've been here for over a month, and it's been a huge shift in my family dynamics. My son has been now withdrawn from me. He no longer laughs, or he no longer talks to me as much as he normally does. He cannot understand why I'm not at home, of course, because he's too young to. My husband told me last week a neighbor rang the doorbell to drop something off for him, and Amir thought it was me at the door, and he ran to the door and he said, "Daddy's home, Daddy's home." And when he saw that it wasn't me, he started to cry. So it's has taken a toll on him more than it has on me. And knowing that he's going through this, it really breaks my heart. But every night, every day, every chance that I get, I call FaceTime. I talk to him and I tell him that I love him and Daddy will be home at some point. And, I'm helping other families while keeping our own family safe.
Yeah.
And this is the only way I can do that.
Right.
Jadore, is there, it's kind of hard to ask this question considering what you've told us just up to now, but do you feel like there are any silver linings, any positives that you have seen coming out of this experience over the past month or so?
I feel that at some point we're gonna have a breaking point. My hospital alone, yesterday I saw them posted that within the entire system, because it's a chain hospital, right, we discharge over 3,100 COVID patients who have successfully recovered and sent back home. Mm-hmm. I do believe that this is going to be around maybe a little bit longer than anticipated. Mm. However, I think, and I'm very hopeful from what I've seen in the hospital, if we're not practicing and social distancing, or if we're not taking these precautions seriously, it's going to be around much longer than it should have.
Yeah. Jadore, I think that it's important that we close with a question that is radically different from all of the others. You ready for it? Goes like this. Over the last week, we would like you to share, you who are doing things that are so critically important for people, we'd like you to share with us something that you have eaten that you are incredibly ashamed of. We want the worst. Tell us some awful snack or awful meal that you've had over the last week.
I am sorry to disappoint.
Oh, come on.
To be honest with you, I have not been eating healthy. I have at my hotel here,
right, there
is not a microwave or a stove. So mostly my meals consist of Chick-fil-A.
Excellent.
It's not bad.
It's the closest thing to the hotel.
Right. That's the kind of junk we're looking for. We're looking for as bad as you can go.
So normally that's what I have been feasting on lately.
Well, listen, if there's anybody who deserves Chick-fil-A all day long, it is you. Jadore, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
I hope you'll be reunite with your family, your son, really soon, and you'll make it
I hope
everything.
So too. Thank you, guys. And if I could just add, I just want to say to anyone who's listening, don't take things for granted. And every day that we're able, every second that we're able to stand above our grave, just consider that a blessing. Because there's so many others who wish they just had that one more chance or that second just to tell someone how much they love them or to do something that they didn't have a chance to. So let's just all please just be grateful for the moments that we have here, and please continue to be safe.
Thank you,
Thank
Jadore,
you
for
so
that
much.
so much.
You're welcome.
That is clear.